Hey there, welcome back to another draw along. Today I wanted to try to draw this little inflatable ducky. I've been drawing a lot of these box shapes recently and I enjoy them, and I certainly do need to practice them, but something that I like about this duck that I think might be a little challenging for me is just more of the curved edges. It's very rounded, so I don't do a lot of rounded shapes, or I want to practice more rounded shapes rather than just the boxy stuff. So let's get into it. As usual, I'm going to be using my red pencil and blue pen. I think I'll use the blue pen maybe just to color in some of the shadowy parts you see on the right side of this duck. So let's see what we can come up with. We'll start by finding the big shapes, and I'm noticing everything below its head almost looks kind of oval-ish. So I'm just gonna draw a big kind of oval to start. I don't know if oval's the right word because it's not necessarily smaller on one end. I imagine an egg to be more oval. And then its head we'll just draw a big circle for its head just to get the shape in here. And then we'll have to connect the head to the rest of the body. And it looks like from the left side of the head, it curves down and then wraps back. Little S line there. And then this side, so it'll be kind of up here, will be the furthest in part of this curved line here. Okay, so we got the head, we got the neck, and I actually think that this, you know what? The head is actually higher. Let's get this out of the way real quick, and I don't like where that is. Okay, so the head is a little bit higher than I initially thought it was. I'll put it up here. And then from here, we'll do this side of the neck. And I'm being very loose here. I'm not going for perfection, just trying to make it look like if you see my finished drawing, it's pretty obvious that I was copying from that. And that's all we're going for. All right, so we got the body, we got the neck, we got the head. Now I think we should place the mouth, the bill. Excuse me. So I'm gonna do this the far end of the bill, and then it's gonna come up here at the center of the bill, and then pop out there. Okay, so this will drop down and come back up. And I'm gonna draw the center line here, the bottom part of the top half of its bill. Okay, all right, this is looking good. Little nostril there. And then the mouth, the bottom of the bill comes out to about there. Sometimes I like to find, if I'm gonna draw a line, whatever the shape may be, I like to find where the line is gonna end first. So when I start from one side or the other, I have a definite point that I'm aiming for. So that's what I'm doing here. It's gonna come up and down and back up into that point. There you go. It's pretty obviously a bill. Maybe I will also draw the little line that will be the shadow. So it looks like it kind of wraps around the nostril, comes down here. Okay, keep that light. And then there's a little bit of shadow underneath the top half of the bill there. Maybe when I when I ink this with the pen, I'll just draw this line a little bit thicker to indicate that there's some shadow underneath there. All right, I think this neck is a little too thin, so I'm gonna do something about that real quick. Okay, just made that a little bit wider. Let's see, there's a line here. It looks like it's a wrapping line around its neck. And then a line coming down here. Looks like it's with a center, some kind of center line. And then over here we have a couple of bandages. Duck, inflatable duck, maybe had a hole poked in it and it's been patched. And got another bandage, little bandage cross here. Okay. And let's draw his big eyes here. They're not perfect circles, so we're not gonna try to get this perfect. They're just big. And he's got smaller pupils kind of pointing that way. And then this side, just a bulbous eye sticking out there, and the pupil kind of shooting off in the other direction there. I like that. And then we have its eyebrows up here that look, at least this one looks like a little bean. We'll draw a little bean shape. And then over here, similar, a little bit wider on one side, comes down a bit narrower on the other. Nice. Got our eyelashes or eyebrows out of our eyes. There's a couple little marks, little lines here and there. I don't know, I've talked about this before, I don't know how artists decide, oh, let me put some spots over here, a speckle down here, I'll put a big spot up here on its head, I mean, put a couple lines there, a little hatch, a couple little cross lines. I don't know how they decide how to do that, but it looks cool. I'm not gonna try to get too detailed with that. Maybe we'll see when we ink it in and shade it a little bit, but I do want to try to get some of the shadowy bits. So this line here, this side of this line will be shaded in, and then from its bill, from the edge of its bill, all the way down to underneath its bandage is gonna be a shadow line. Okay, I like that. And then he's got a little line coming off from under his eye here. It almost makes him look a little extra wild. And he's kind of shadowy over here behind that eye. And then the front of his head, there's a little bit of shadow line there. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm just looking at the image, seeing if there's anything big that I forgot. Now he does have in his dark pupil, there are a couple of white spots, and I don't have a white anything to create that with, so when I pen in its pupils, I'm going to try to leave a couple little circles or a little circle untouched to act as that light. And do his eye here for no particular reason. I'm going to start with the eye. That little line there. I think I'll go with its mouth here. Let me turn this a little bit. I kind of want to try to get his whole mouth and without lifting the pen up. So I want to have the page at an angle to where I can see the lines I'm trying to trace without blocking them with my hand. Nice. And then we have a little nostril. All right, I'm gonna get his eye, his pupil here. And then in the pupil, I'm gonna draw a little circle. All right, I'm gonna color this in. Try not to color in that little circle. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks good. All right, now I'm gonna try to get the top of his head down to his neck and all the way down here in one shot. Let's see if I can do that all right. I'm gonna take our time. Nice. And then, I wanna come that way or do I wanna come this way? I think I'll turn this a little bit and I'll come down from here. Nice. And then let's get the bandages. Okay, got a couple lines on the bandage there. And then we'll get this eye with this super buggy eye. And then get this pupil. This pupil has a light spot in it as well. I'm just gonna put that light spot right at the top and color everything below it. Nice, I like that. All right, we'll get this eyebrow. This eyebrow. And it looks like the eyebrows are a little shaded as well. One part is lighter than the other part. We'll see if we can get that. All right, I'm gonna get this rounded line around its neck. And then the center line. Nice. All right, let's see if we can, you know what, let me get these little lines. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but there they are. All right, I'm going to go very light in the areas that I want to shade here, like the edge of the shadow. I'm going to go very light. All right. I'm not gonna get the spots. This was done digitally, I imagine, and it might be a little bit easier to use a brush, some kind of speckle brush, to lay in some quick spots, and I don't have that, and I don't want to do it. All right, this is going to be a little tough to hatch in. I have to take my time here. I don't know if I should follow the shape of it. I don't think I should. I think it'd be too wacky. You know what? Maybe I can follow the shape this way. I'll draw some lines going this direction. I want to keep them pretty close together, but I also want to keep them light. How am I gonna, oh yeah, let's do this. I have markers. Maybe I should start trying to use some markers for some of this stuff. All right, let's get the little shadow on the front of his head. Color this in behind his eye. Color this area in on his back. nice. Gives it a little depth. Oh, let's get the bill as well. It kind of comes around the nostril and then down here and back into its mouth. Okay. And then, oh, I said I was going to draw this a little bit darker to indicate that there's shadow underneath the mouth. So let's do that. Okay. And then the whole front part of his bill, just about that. There's little edges that are not shadowed as much, but I'm not going to stress about that. I'm just going to color in the whole thing. And then his eyebrows, a little area that's lighter on the inside, and then they're darker on the outside. It looks a little funny with these lines here. It would definitely look better if it was a solid color, I think, but here we are. Anyway, I think that's it. I'm not gonna draw the little, maybe I can get a couple of these things here. Little circle thing. Little circle coming over there. Something up here. Just a little texture, perhaps, or something, just to add a little bit of detail. Maybe I'll draw a little of these spots. Even draw them down here. All right, where's our duck? That was pretty quick today. You know what? Let me. There's this little bit under his eye. I don't know if that did much for it. That's a wacky looking duck. But I did it, completed a piece of art for today. I'm happy that I saw it through. If you drew a duck too, I hope it turned out great, or at least you love that you tried. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next one.